Mame fa na se ma PENDREAM TV. PENDREAM TV de osia dem yopo.
Honorable Ras Mubarak eso na oye former MP for Kumungu na ye no emfa enkomo enhye so. Honorable me moche.
Opinion kase mejo so.
Na bako pa.
Adami adom ya bedu fie bako.
Eyiri na ye de che wo no. Ana no anka so wo nua bi wo ha. Ayi ho no nanka wonfa be miensa bi ma ne nche emfa.
Esa me no ko Iswatini in end of August.
Okay.
Omo festival be omo friend no read dance. Na sa festival no a festival Chrome Hub Maiden. There's a member wa sabe omo nyan ware ya omo ye virgin. Omo nyina ye omo in a place like a stadium. Bad, to dance and to celebrate their virginity and status of maidenhood. No, I'm sure you've seen some of the videos and pictures online. Ubehuna mano sabe pretty asa omo no funyina egu ho to demonstrate.
Na eba ya na boys na to aguzo hwe no.
Enti open yira ka ho dia August.
That is interesting.
I don't know selection.
Wow. Me feel the question see America Israel against Iran. Benjamin Netanyahu away.
Well, ebisi we pra ebisi otiase ebisi we free mu ensem de bebre na eduru there's a lot of misinformation from both sides. Some of the information they are putting out and information are correct. So from where I sit, I really don't know. But infonia out to show that there's proof of life of Benjamin Netanyahu. No, some videos infonia from investigation. Among for investigations on my almost say a fake because the last one I'm gonna buy no coffee. Coffee no shaky, but coffee no so people believe that he may have been injured or something bad may have happened to him because the way Iran strike at bunkers, and this is not to suggest that Israel is also not striking Iran. Israel is also doing a lot of damage. They bombed some oil fields, gas fields in Iran. Iran so are retaliating by bombing Qatar and Saudi Arabia or more oil fields. But your friend is saying, the information about the proof of life of Benjamin Netanyahu. The mother buy, if free Israel are buying, people have questioned the credibility of that information. And I can't tell whether he's alive or dead. But for me, I really would not wish that he dies. And this is the reason. Oha Bonea with to the extent that International Criminal Court are charging with committing war crime and genocide. This is somebody I would hope to see in handcuffs. I would hope to see being put to trial. I would hope to see stand trial, and answer for the war crimes and crimes against humanity that he has committed. If he dies in this current conflict, to be honest, personally, I would be very hurt and sad. So, it would have been, he would not have accounted for the crimes he has committed against, especially Palestinians.
So far, who is winning? Matisa Trump say and Kabaya Crowns one G7 no say for no woman in America who so pay death years to Nicole no and me they say who is winning?
A war and Takwanya Debia, a yard pa Emma Ubia Kwame because and Necra a barrel of crude is about $110. In Europe, it's increased to about 7% and the rest of it. So it's going to affect a lot of people. In terms of winners and losers, in war there are no winners and losers because innocent people are getting killed from both sides. But in terms of economic damage to American interests in the Middle East, I would say the war is tilted against America, given the destruction of Omo bases in the Middle East, over Kuwait, Bahrain, Qatar, UAE. Iran has bombed all of those bases, and it cost America billions and billions of dollars to put up those bases. Iran is literally driving them out of the Middle East. Obano on the Israeli side, Iran's missiles are hitting places that no one has ever attacked before, as far as the state of Israel is concerned, since the state was created in the early 40s, in 1944. What do I say? On the Iranian side, I mean, they have killed, Ali Larijani, who is a senior member of the government. Before that, they had killed, the Ayatollah himself and his, son-in-law and granddaughter and the rest of it. And they've killed some senior officials of Iran. Now, Iranians, almost some, and it's a sect. The Shia sect, tradition is a sect of Islam. Almost some believe in martyrdom. Now, their thinking is that I mean, they were already inviting, say, they will get to die as martyrs. What do I say? It is for them, nothing has really happened. It hasn't changed the leadership, the structure of the Iranian government, etc. They've literally replaced everybody who's been killed. So they say that, you may have killed some leaders and, prominent people, but it means nothing. So long as we are able to also strike you deeply. I know her and Nura, Iran bombed some, gas fields in Saudi Arabia, as I indicated, and Qatar. And this is going to further, bring about difficulty on the American economy, on the European economy,
like Kuwait, like Dubai,
and global economy as a whole.
I said, in respect of what? Say, Wama UN network for base about Omoha Nadi.
Maybe I can say,
bomb now, bomb like Qatar, like Kuwait, like UAE, no, a network for base now, military base,
well, US bases to her. And San Kronkwe and I'm a penny, America set bases in those countries. And the Iran's argument is that who attack oil infrastructure, we would attack the oil infrastructure in Kuwait and Saudi Arabia and elsewhere because it's going to ultimately hurt you. I mean, Qatar, for instance, provide a lot of, oil to Europe. Gas to Europe. What you say? Sir, oil fields, gas fields, And to me, operate here. Europeans are going to get, well, now you can say that they are almost out of winter. But they're going to freeze to death because I want to snow, and said that name. And they get, I think, about 20%, of all their, liquefied gas from Qatar. Especially at a time, there are sanctions on Russian gas near there. If you have supplies from Saudi Arabia and Qatar, and buy Europe for who Europe for who extra more. What Iran is trying to do, they are trying to force the hand of America and Israel to stop the aggression. They are literally sending the war to them in their countries. Because obviously Iran can't reach America directly by firing at America, but they can hurt America. And they are actually hurting America by attacking these oil fields, gas fields, and you're trying to say military bases.
Mammy, we deal with say, the only see a year 9, how many are 9? My whole pictures be it's a see a bombing flying called Russia, the number question near there. AI.
From Iranian officials, it is AI. And to be honest, if he had been killed because he's Muslim, obviously they would want to bury him. And Iranian for Abba Bontain to say indeed the man has died and they have to perform the necessary burial services. So he's alive, nobody knows where he is, and obviously, given the fact that he provides great leadership currently to the Iranians, because he released released a lot of information and press releases since he was sworn in. My suspicion is that he may have been injured, because he hasn't been seen publicly since Omuyi, as Ayatollah, to replace his father. And don't forget, he's a radical version, so he's a 56-year-old version of the 86-year-old Ayatollah American Israel killed. And in effect, they haven't done anything. Currently, the director of at the center of the National Security Counterterrorism Intelligence Center in the U.S. were resigning. And Kwame Ohe, the reasons he gave for his resignation now is so damaging to it's really literally exposed Trump and Israel. Say, Ekuna Mokono is not a just war, because for your director of the National Counterterrorism Center to resign, a very, very senior, official in the Trump administration, it speaks volume. And the resignation letter, this is one of the things. Let me just read one paragraph. Or say the second paragraph. I cannot, in good conscience, Kwame, support the ongoing war in Iran. Iran posed no imminent threat to our nation, and it is clear that we started this war due to pressure from Israel and its powerful American lobby. I mean, this is somebody who was director of Counter-Terrorism Center. He has been deployed 11 times to serve. He's a former, your friend is a military officer of the United States of America. So this coming from him speaks a lot of volume, and it undermines the war that everyone is saying, this is an unjust war. Anything in Europe, whether it's Britain, Germany, France, Switzerland, the whole of Europe, almost in Takoya, because the war is against international law. Just a corner of Matwasha, Iran for so no. It violates and like the Europeans and many people around the world, we feel this was an Israeli agenda, and the Americans didn't think through it carefully, and that is why they got involved in the war. Currently, I can tell you, based on everything that is happening, Trump wants a way out of this. Every now and then, Iran is trying to seek negotiation, and Iranian officials, including the Minister for Foreign Affairs, has come out to say they have not asked for cessation of the fight. We live in difficult times, and unfortunately, it's going to escalate. It's going to get worse before it gets better.
Now, Mami Radio with you. Matisse, you see, director of counter-terrorism near the idea, will resign from the Trump's administration. I don't know of what effect in the Benya. Now, radio na occasion sign resignation.
Well, obviously, it's going to have serious effects. It undermines the whole war. I say, Ghana, now the National Security Coordinator, are resigning. Now the resignation letter, we're making it public. No one state say, or no, and Yadia in good conscience. Over to me, as support to Abayno. I mean, that would be very, very damaging. This could be equated to, Martin Alamisi, resigning as special prosecutor and giving reasons for his resignation. We all saw the damage it did to the credibility of the government. And for the director of the National Counter-Terrorism Center in America to resign, and given the reasons he's given now, it makes the Trump administration look very, 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 very bad. And don't forget that Trump made a promise. Say, or no, Oba, especially the America are involved in, simply because it's not in the interest of America. So to see Trump get involved in a war like this, as the director, whose name is Joseph Kent, indicated, said, wait here, Trump economy simply because there was pressure from Israel.
I see. So far, crown. It is saying, if we are singing, no, Adena, Yebusa say, UN, one silence is too loud enough. Why? Woman can be.
Well, UN Akabi. Now, UN say, and Takwano, it doesn't have the backing of the UN, unjustified because it didn't meet the requirements of the United Nations. But Kwame, don't forget, say, who pays the piper calls the tune. UN no
Spanish
America they fund the UN activities to do a chunk of the UN budget comes from the United States of America. What do I say? And the UN has been incapacitated by this, by the fact that you have one big superpower who contributes so much, but who tends not to want to abide by the rules and regulations and the laws that have been, put forward by the entire world to govern, the way we do things in the world. I mean, what can the UN do apart from condemnation? What can they do? Who had UN troops cry or more Lebanon? Ya soldier for Eka Hokrano. Israel for Bombay. And yesterday they admitted, say, but it was a mistake according to them. I mean, these are UN troops. And this is not the first time Israel is violating your friends and attacking UN troops. It's happened in Lebanon severally. It's happened in Gaza. And see, we live in a world, Kwame. Wana omuwa holding. Epese, omu bully obia, and to get everybody to do things their way. And this is why every time I make this point, say Africa, yen share the enfrimu. Ni yen kwanya ye befa so ye bibi mind, ye sikasem, ye deane our food security, our energy. I mean, we would depend very minimally on the outside world because the world is not fair, Kwame. And so long as we continue getting grants and aid from these people, they would want to dictate who becomes president here, who becomes president there. Eventually, we may not even get the right people to rule our country because they always have an interest. Now, America's why imagine say, baby, I'm more interest. I want to say, on my opinion, or no, or no more nyajia. Quite be ambassador on Betunia, ambassador Etuno. I mean, we've spoken about this extensively. Look at what they are doing to the Cubans currently. To the extent that now Cuba can't even get energy to power hospitals, to provide to do operations on patients. I mean, this is how bad it is. Simply because they just want to punish the Cubans. Bonebe Nomaye, you've imposed sanctions on them for the last 50 years. And still you are oppressing them. And to my mind, say, Yanyakro, Nayan stand up against bullying, because what the Americans are doing is clearly nothing but bullying. And every now and then, Trump and or say Britain for they're still going to win the war anyway. Now, we need a war anywhere. Why do you want others to come and help you? I mean, they should tell you that the war is not going well for the United States of America.
Honorable Mienfen Komensi. So Honorable Ras Mubarak and I know train Komono Afa the US.
Dedi kama amena PENDREAM TV ase. Now so far so good. Say open online portal e wo Ghana. Nipa share, nipa follow, nipa comment here. To my best of knowledge, without any biases, PENDREAM TV.